didn't exactly set out to succeed on Facebook. You kind of fell into it.
But I grew from 25,000 followers on Facebook to like 100,000 by the fall. And it was me just posting 2 reels a day.
Where you were having success, but making $150, $500, and now you're many 5 figures.
It was like almost overnight going from like 5,000 to 30, 30, 30.
Do you have like a system for it that systematizes the process?
So republishing content is something that you wouldn't think to do, but it's something that I do quite frequently.
Do you have a niche that you're trying to stick within?
To me, it doesn't matter the niche. It matters, can you get engagement?
How do you get into this program today?
I know at least 2 or 3 people that have bought my course, gotten into the Facebook content monetization program that have less than 10,000.
Why is the model so different than all the other content creation models that are out there?
What makes the Facebook content monetization program unique is that.
All right, welcome back to the Niche Pursuits podcast. My name is Jared Bauman. Today we are joined by Jeff Rose with goodfinancialsense.com. Jeff, welcome on board.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you. We were talking about before we hit record that, we're talking about Facebook today, and you didn't exactly set out to succeed on Facebook. You kind of fell into it accidentally. So it's going to be fun to hear the story, because I feel like a lot of our guests, we end up talking about these great successes that kind of came out of something that wasn't necessarily intended to be that way in the first place. But before we get to it, tell us about maybe who you are up to, our topic today, and give us some backstory on yourself.
Yeah. So initially, so still a certified financial planner. So I had my own wealth management firm for I was a financial planner for 16 years. And then in that process, I started a blog back in 2000 and was it 5? No, 2008, excuse me. Wow. Trying to date myself. That's when I was deployed to Iraq. Whole other story. So started a blog as I was still a financial planner, using it primarily as a marketing tool. Had no idea you could monetize a blog. Through a lot of chance encounters, discovered, wow, you can make money from a website. You can make money online. So after 9 months of posting content on the blog, got a check from Google AdSense for about $150 after 9 months of writing content and publishing posts. But either way, that check was like literally life-changing for me, because it's like to actually receive a physical check from Google was just, wow, I just got a check from Google. Like, this is weird. And I just became obsessed. So instead of trying to grow the financial planning practice, focused on growing the blog over a fair number of years. And it got to a place where the blog was making 3 times what the financial firm was making, which it got to a place where the financial firm became a distraction, which is like a business that I spent like over a decade growing, was just mind blowing to me. And then got to a place where making 7 figures a couple of years in a row with the blog, ended up selling the practice to focus on the online business. Everything was great until it wasn't. And then a lot of competition with every other site wanting to have affiliate pages to compete with, and then throw in a little bit of AI. And the business that I thought would be the business I'd hand over to my kids became obsolete, pretty much felt like overnight. So for the last couple of years, man, it's been really a lot of soul searching, trying to figure out what am I going to do with myself when I grow up, transitioned a little bit into business coaching and just to kind of fill the gap. And then with that, my wife started an Instagram page. She's had a few different successful businesses on Instagram, and she started a brand new page, grew it to like 100,000 in, I want to say less than a year, if I'm not mistaken. And with that, I'm like, okay, well, I've got nothing else to do. I'm just going to go ahead and start growing my Instagram page. And as I'm just growing Instagram, really for just for fun, really, there's no business model behind it. So I'm creating like 1 or 2 reels a day. And as I'm creating these reels, I'm cross-posting over to Facebook, because why not? At this point in time in my life, out of every social media platform, Facebook is my least favorite. I have 0 interest. Don't even go to my personal profile. I kind of hate Facebook, if I'm being honest. But as I'm cross-posting these reels over to Facebook, all of a sudden, one of them ended up getting like several 100,000 views. And even though the music that I used, I was not able to monetize that, it still was kind of like head scratching. I'm like, wow, people are still on Facebook? Like, is that still a thing? And then like there was another one that ended up getting several 100,000 views. Once again, didn't make any money, really don't care. And I guess I'm kind of jumping into it. I don't know if you want to stop me there, but I'm kind of segueing into how
Perfect.
I finally
You're doing my job for me. I don't even think I need to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go. I'll make your job easy for you. So as I'm posting reels, once again, not really making any money, I end up sharing a screenshot that of somebody on X, and it was really just something that was funny. Somebody that they ordered a Big Mac, I believe, from DoorDash, and did so while instructing the DoorDash order delivery guy to basically, I don't want any, no meat, no lettuce, no bun. Basically, I just want a box. And it was like kind of like a social experiment. That's my type of humor. I thought it was hilarious. So I took a screenshot, shared it on my Facebook page, and added like a 2 sentence caption. And next thing I know, I get a notification or I log in and I see that I'm going to get paid from Facebook. And very similar to the Google AdSense check, years before, this one was like $137 I was going to make from, I think, that post and another post. And people always ask me, like, how did you even get approved? Like, how did you get accepted? Like, I have no idea. Like, I really don't remember. This is before Facebook content monetization. This would have been a part of their, I think, performance bonus program.
Yeah.
All I can tell you is that I posted a few different screenshots, and next thing I know, Facebook is sending me a check for $137. And even saying it out loud, like, it still doesn't make sense to me because, having a YouTube channel, having a podcast, having a blog, all the different ways that you can monetize it to the fact that I was making money from a screenshot from an image that I didn't even create, that wasn't video, wasn't a reel, wasn't long form video, was just really just, like I said, just it still doesn't make sense to me. But that's kind of how it all started.
Hey guys, Jared here with a really quick but cool story from one of our listeners. Recently, Felice Kaufman grabbed her complimentary GEO snapshot audit from 201 Creative because she wanted to just understand how visible her site was to LLMs. A couple days later, she got the audit back, but that's not all she ended up getting. The audit also uncovered a serious technical issue that had been quietly holding her site back. Turned out to be a really simple fix, which she made almost immediately. Within days, one of her older articles shot to the top of the search results, and she ended up making thousands of dollars in a single week. Her words, quote, "Your GEO audit was a godsend. I saw an increase in traffic in hours. I've been at this for 2 years full time, and this was a big, big deal." So yes, the GEO snapshot audit, it shows you how your site is positioned for AI and LLM visibility. Sometimes it also reveals some hidden blockers that might be quietly costing you traffic and money. Right now, it's still free for Niche Pursuits listeners. You can grab yours at 201creative.com/GEO snapshot. Again, that's 201creative.com/GEO snapshot. Now, back to the episode. It's interesting talking to people about Facebook specifically with this because it's like oftentimes memes and funny stuff and screenshots of text over and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think you underscored it perfectly. Like, you put all this effort, 9 months worth of effort into creating all this amazing content, and you get a check, and that check is actually not much when you look at the time, but it's a lot when you look at it validating what you're doing. And then fast forward, and YouTube video creation takes so long, and it takes so much work to get the hook right in the first 30 seconds and all this stuff. And not to underscore it, not to simplify it, but it does make it sound almost like robbing a bank when you hear stories about how people are creating success on Facebook these days. Have you come to terms with that in terms of like why that is? Why is it so so different? I don't want to say simple because that would be robbing the simplicity. Mark Twain always said, if I had longer, I would have written you a shorter letter, right? Like, simple is hard, but why is the model so different than all the other content creation models that are out there?
Yeah, I can only gather is that, Facebook, Zuckerberg, they're doing their best effort to compete with the X's and the TikToks of the world and giving creators a reason to want to be there. Because I think for a long time, I think Facebook definitely was looked at as like, oh, that's for grandma and grandpa, that's for the boomers. I don't want to be there. I don't want to create content. I want to go somewhere sexier like YouTube or TikTok. And so to me, that's the only thing. Because that definitely was my viewpoint of like, I don't want to waste my time here. Why would I want to waste my time? Why would I want to spend my time here? Like, everything else is a lot more fun than here. Until all of a sudden, oh, you're going to pay me to be here. Okay, maybe I'll think about staying around a little bit longer.
Yeah. So after you got that first check, like, what did the transition look like for you? Obviously, you're doing this a lot more now. You can walk us through what that transition looked like. And then I'd like to ask as a secondary, you can answer as part of it or maybe as a second question, like, what does it look like today for you in terms of what your daily schedule is like, what you're earning, anything you're comfortable sharing?
Yeah, no, so initially I I wish I could tell you that like, man, wow, I discovered something. So I just like doubled down, went all in. And I did spend a little bit more time trying to find other posts. And there was one screenshot that I had shared, I think several months prior before I guess I was in the program. So I didn't make any money, but it ended up going viral. And it was a screenshot of like Taylor Swift's high school boyfriend. It was a tweet that he did. And I'm like, that one went viral. I didn't expect it to. Let me actually just post it again now that I'm in this program. So I ended up making like, I think it was like $500 like from that one, once again, screenshot. So I'm like, okay, I think I've got it figured out now. So the very next month, when I think by month 3, I've got it figured out, I made $120 or something.
Oh boy.
Like, okay, maybe I don't have it figured out.
Back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board. And it definitely, for the next several months, it was me just treating it as this fun side hustle, side project. It was never anything that I thought was a meaningful source of revenue. I was still trying to grow like a business coaching program. I really felt like that was the path for me, trying to add clients, try to build out funnels, trying to create my process and all this stuff. So everything that I was doing in Facebook was really just as an afterthought. I ended up making, I think it was like $10,000 in either December or January, obviously, which was, significant at the time. But once again, still not anything that I thought was life-changing. End up getting dinged for a post that was a parody post. It was meant to be fun. End up getting fact-checked, and I got kind of angry about it. I was a little bitter, maybe a little bit of self-pity. Coming from the financial industry space, where having to deal with compliance and all this stuff, I'm like, okay, screw it. I really don't care. I really don't. So I'm going to go over here. And I still kept posting like, well, if I can make a couple extra $1,000 a month, why wouldn't I? And then it wasn't until like April, I believe, where I don't know what triggered for me seeing another a creator that's in the personal finance space, how much he was posting, coming across some YouTube content, seeing other creators and some strategies behind it. And then finally, I just said out loud, I'm like, all right, I've never really went all in. Like I never really made this my main thing. What would it look like if I actually had a strategy behind this? So it went from like just randomly posting to actually scheduling posting, being thoughtful with content, going from 8 times a day, increasing it to 12 to 16 to 20 to 24. And then all of a sudden, I mean, it was like almost overnight going from like 5,000 to, I want to say 15,000, maybe then 20,000, and then 30, 30, 30, back to back to back. So it was a nice stretch. Something that I have not publicly shared yet, which I still need to record the video about, was in September 17th, I believe. My account ended up getting suspended.
Oh dear.
That sucked. That was a a miserable experience, and also a good reminder of why we don't put our faith all into one platform. I am currently out of that suspension as of I think October 20th. Long story short, I got flagged for something that I shouldn't have been. And paraphrasing here, but Facebook basically told me, or said in their own words, "Our bad. You shouldn't have been suspended, and everything has been removed." So it's been restored. Either way, it definitely was a financial hit, but because for 30 plus days, I could still post, but I did not make a single dime. And that's hard. That's hard to create that much content when you're not getting paid for it, and you don't even know when it's going to be reinstated. So as I said, that has not been publicly shared yet, but I think it's something that people need to know and be aware, because it definitely could happen.
Oh, I'm glad you shared. Well, we're going to come back to that because I have a couple questions on that. I know people will want to know. I'm glad you got it back.
Me too.
Because it doesn't always happen. So it's a good end. A painful 30 plus days. So obviously you're doing very well in the program, and it isn't something where you've had to spend grinding away, almost going back to your story about your first 9 months of blogging. Like, you've been able to rapidly scale it. I mean, I'd love to just get from you the things that you've learned that lead to scale like that. Talk through some of the findings you've had. And again, we could look back at what you were doing where you were having success, but making $150, $500. And now you're many, many, many five figures. What are some of the things? I mean, do you have like a system for it that systematizes the process?
Yeah, I have a bit of a system, but like full disclaimer, like I still do everything myself. I do not have a VA, which is so weird for me to say because for many, many years I was delegating
Mm-hmm.
everything. I
Mm-hmm.
think as every good business owner should. This was something that it was so new. And it kind of felt like with a lot of people that were OG bloggers, I think they can relate to this. This kind of felt like back in the day when you could write a 500-word blog post, it could rank and you could make money with AdSense or affiliates.
Yep.
Like that's what it felt like for me right now. So, and it still does, where it's kind of like, I'm just really enjoying it. I'm enjoying discovering content from other platforms, other creators, like what's working for them. How can I kind of tweak that to me? It's been a lot of fun. And I've talked to other people, and there definitely is a system to it. The little nuance, which I'm still haven't been willing to let go of, is that when I'm using ChatGPT to help out with the captions, to help out with the headlines, to help out with the first comments, there's just something in what I know and what I choose and why I choose it. You know, when ChatGPT gives me 5 different options, they all sound good, you know. But man, there is a method to the madness. So as of right now, a little creator control. I haven't been willing, but definitely there are parts of it where I could definitely outsource, like the image creation, scheduling some content. Like I've definitely recognized some of that. But yeah, like that's kind of like where I'm at right now with it.
From a high level, the Facebook define the Facebook program now because it's gone through some changes. Again, from a high level, we don't need a PhD course on it, but define what it is and what you're doing every day. You kind of said you increased your volume. You alluded to the types of things you're publishing. What is the program from a high level today? What are the metrics or the drivers of getting paid, and what are you doing just on a daily basis?
Yeah, so like what makes the Facebook content monetization program unique is that, with them paying not only for reels, long form or short form content, paying for images, paying for text posts, even though that they've kind of reduced that at the time being. They'll pay you for stories, subscriptions, which is something I really haven't dwelt into that much. For me, a lot of my revenue comes from images, and now I am doing more reels as kind of like a test, just because in the beginning, when I wasn't making money from Facebook, I was doing like 2 reels a day, like I was posting to Instagram, but I grew from 25,000 followers on Facebook to, I think it was the summer, to almost, gosh, I'm trying to remember here, like 100,000 by the fall. And it was me just posting 2 reels a day. So here I am, like I kind of cut back on reels because, even I'm not, when I say reels, like I'm taking some B-roll, adding a hook on screen. There's no talking, background music. So they're pretty simple to create. Not like I'm not like talking head, but man, there's no denying. Like I can take a screenshot, add 2 captions in the first comment and make, $50 to $200. Like it was just so much easier to do. So that's kind of the strategy behind it. As far as what I'm doing right now, I use Post Planner, which is a scheduling tool. There's also Buffer. Buffer is what I started with. Post Planner was attracted to me because I have 4 different buckets of content that I'm creating. And that is like thought leadership type stuff where I'm trying to brand more using, my logo and some branding. So at least when people are sharing stuff, they can see me, maybe give me a follow, just random screenshots, whether it be from X or Threads or Reddit, or even on Facebook as well. Also have some square images that I create with obviously Canva, and I'm cross posting over to Instagram as well. And then there's another bucket, and I can't remember. Oh, text posts.
Okay.
So different buckets. So that way, for me, when I'm scheduling out content, I can see what bucket needs to be filled. And the cool thing about scheduling with these tools now is that it's a cool thing about repurposing content. If you publish a YouTube video, you don't usually republish the same video like 6 months later, right? Like once
Correct. Yeah.
it's live, Whereas with Facebook, since every single post has such a short shelf life, anywhere from 2 days to like 7 days, and I mean, you can tell by your analytics, like unless something is still some stuff can last a little bit longer. For most of the content falls off pretty quickly. And you also have to assume that only a fraction of your followers actually saw it to begin with. So I will use these tools where if it's on the weekend and I'm like, oh, I don't have anything geared up or queued, I can go back and just hit republish on a bunch of stuff. It takes a few minutes. So now I've got content there. So republishing content is something that you wouldn't think to do, but it's something that I do quite frequently.
I've asked this question before when we've talked about Facebook, but I want to get your take on it. You come obviously from a very successful financial blog. You got a financial background. Your first successful meme was of an empty, Big hamburger Mac box. Yeah, Big Mac. Like, do you have a niche that you're trying to stick within? Do you just publish about anything? Like, is one meme about a grandma, and the next meme is about financial meltdown? Like, what are the lanes here?
Oh, it's so funny. Oh gosh, like when you say it like that, it is hilarious. I
didn't mean that derogatorily.
But it's so true. Oh my goodness. So for me, Good Financial Sense, that has been, I've had the blog since 2008, 2009. Personal finance, financial planning, investing has always kind of been the center. I've also found success in family stuff, marriage stuff has also worked out. There might be a bit of financial spin, but there's sometimes just talking about fatherhood and, being present with my kids. Like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but same thing for personal finance stuff. A little bit of business. Occasionally I'll share about Facebook monetization. I'm a little careful. I'm a little weirded out, like I know other pages do it and probably do it well. I'm somewhat selective. Like if you have to scroll a lot to see any sort of content around that. But generally in that lane, I don't know if you're actually going to ask this question, but something that somebody asked me was with being in the personal finance investing space, especially with like Google AdSense and even on YouTube, being an online business or entrepreneurship, the CPMs are always seem to be higher, especially compared to like lifestyle or motherhood.
Fashion.
Yeah, fashion. So I just assumed like that's why I was making so much. But then when I started like doing a lot of research and finding other pages that are willing to share, what they're making on Facebook, I mean, it is mind blowing to me to see people that are making so much money in so many different niches, anything from thrifting to politics, religion, lifestyle. And like, there's just some other randoms I found where I'm like, gosh, like it doesn't matter the niche. It matters, can you get engagement? And not saying you have to be polarizing, but like, are you posting content that's relatable? So like a thrifting page that I found, like people just love thrifting, so he found a nice community that people are commenting and engaging with his content. And because of that, I mean, he's making like $20,000 a month, talking about thrifting. What you think is kind of a frugal thing to talk about, right? But it really is engagement, community, that focusing on one topic, and eventually you can branch out. But if you're starting a brand new page, you definitely, I think, to me, you do have to stick to one topic until you finally get a following, until you can branch out.
Okay, that's good. That's good advice. And I suppose this is somewhat topical dependent, but what are you finding works the best? I mean, cute, whimsical, touching, funny, slapstick, controversial, hot take. I could go on, right? I wrote a few down while we were talking.
Yeah. All of it.
All of it. Okay.
All of it. I will say one of my most successful posts was a very long form, almost blog style post talking about Buc-ee's, the gas station convenience store, for those that don't know. I mean, that post, wasn't polarizing. It wasn't a hot take. It was just sharing a story about a gas station that I think a lot of people just absolutely love or hate, but I think more people love, just because of the experience, so like that's one example. I've had a lot of the political stuff for me hasn't worked out. Like I've dabbled a little bit, and even if I have gotten decent engagement, the payouts really haven't been there, which is interesting because I know a political guy who's making good money with Facebook. So I don't know why it doesn't pay on my page. It just really hasn't. So, So yeah, that for me. And then I've had some fatherhood stuff take off that's, made me, a couple $1,000s. I've had just random screenshots about NIL pay with college athletes do well, investing stuff. One that was like bizarre to me, but it was just a headline talking about how 54% people drink less now in America, and it was like a breaking news headline. It's just a text post that I added a one line. And literally, I mean, that took me 15 seconds, to post. And I think that's made it's like between $150 and $200, for a one sentence post. And there are just so many examples like that. Obviously, it's a benefit of having the following I have now, but it just shows you man, it's all about testing new things. And that's kind of why it's so much fun right now, like testing new content, trying out new things. Not everything works, obviously, but when it does, it's a lot of fun.
Where do you ideate the content? Because, I just asked you a question about, do you need to kind of stay in a lane in a topic? Certainly at the beginning, you said maybe stay within a topic until you figure out your community. But you also talked about the volume increasing, going from, I think you said 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 20 to 24 posts a day. Where do you come up with all those ideas?
Oh, it's I love that question, because if you looked at my phone right now, for me, man, as I go to X, go to Threads, go to Reddit, just scroll a little bit, screenshot, 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 screenshot. I'll use the markup tool to kind of clean up the image a little bit, then upload it to Post Planner as a draft. And once I do that, I'll just set some time aside where I'll go there, grab the screenshot, upload to ChatGPT, and then, using the prompts I use to write the caption and the first comment. But it's easier for me to go through all that, curate the content that way, then upload to ChatGPT, and just sit down that way I can hammer out a day or 2 days worth of content. I'm spending a little bit more time than I did. In the beginning, it was a lot more screenshots. I will say I'm spending more time, because if you actually go to my page now, you'll see what looks like are some nice looking templates, whether news stories or, headline. And to me, it is wanting to build more of a brand around it versus just being known as the meme guy. So it's a combination. I'm probably spending anywhere from, I would say, 2 to 3 hours a day right now, mostly Monday through Friday, occasionally some on the weekends. But that kind of gives me all the content that I need for about a week. The first couple of interviews I did, I think I said I was spending about 8 to 10 hours a week. And that was true at that time. But for right now, once again, seeing this as I think really just an opportunity, and also just enjoying it. I definitely would like to outsource some of the image creation, but for the most part, I'm enjoying, I'd say 80 to 90% of it, and having fun seeing what's working. And then also, I just love finding the ideas, and whether that's going on Instagram or some other place and seeing something ooh, that's a good one. It's the same thing I used to do with YouTube, right? Where I'd see a headline or a thumbnail or a title, and I'm ooh, I want to recreate that video for me on my channel to see if it works, and usually it did. And that's what I'm kind of finding out with Facebook as well. I'd say 90% of the time you find something that's good, tweak it towards, with adding my voice, adding my own caption, it typically will work on my page.
Let's talk a little bit more about that. What is inbounds inside of what you're posting and what you're not posting? Screenshots sound like they're great. They're fair. They're fine. You talked about how you had an issue getting dinged. You talked about how you got into some trouble before. What are the rules and the boundaries? I'm guessing they're somewhat ambiguous based on conversations I've had with people, but
yeah,
where are you feeling like this is totally good, totally rock solid, versus stuff where you're I'm not so sure about that?
Yeah, I'm a little bit more careful, if I'm being honest. I saw a post yesterday that it was a CNBC headline talking about the FDA COVID shots in kids. I'll just leave it at that. And somebody else shared it on their Facebook page, and I'm man, I actually would like to share that and also add a little bit about my thoughts to it, which is a bit of it could be a hot take for some. And I had it locked and loaded, was gonna hit it in the queue, and then I took the image, uploaded ChatGPT. I'm hey, do you think Facebook would flag this? And it said yes, high probability. I'm like, oh. And sometimes like I had the screw it mentality, but I'm like, no, I don't. I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to go through another suspension. So like that was one example where, yeah, I mean, I wish that I didn't have that suspension looming, but knowing that, I'm a little bit more cautious. Just to be transparent about what I got flagged for was taking a screenshot on X of somebody that showed their investment account. I think it was 9 months apart, saying, hey, they started off 150,000 and then 9 months later they grew it to 700,000. They didn't say how. I'm assuming it was trading options. That would seem like the most logical sense for me. Shared the screenshot and said something to the effect of, a lot of people think that you have to invest for 40 years and take advantage of compounding interest to grow wealth. There are a lot other ways that you can grow wealth a lot faster. Here's an example of wealth
advice.
accelerated.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I shared. And the flag was promoting a financial fraud or scam.
Okay.
Ooh, I'm not selling a course on options. I'm not selling a course on trading. It was just me sharing. I thought, a lot about my YouTube channel talking about Wealth Hacker was just showing people how to accelerate their wealth building. Something I've talked about for a long time. And I thought like, hey, I don't trade options, but like people that do can have success. Here's an example. I kind of felt like I got hit with a felony for a misdemeanor. And anyway, that's what happened. And I just kind of accepted it. And it wasn't until reaching out to finally getting meta support after 30 days, they basically came back and said, oh, yeah, you shouldn't have been flagged. Everything has been removed. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Thank you. Thank you. So, and during that stretch, like a lot of people said, make sure to keep posting because you don't want to lose momentum, but I just didn't have the motivation to continue 20 plus posts a day. So I dropped it down to 6 or 8 a day just to kind of keep it going. Prior to that suspension, I was averaging about 250 to 300 million views a month. Dropped down to about 100, I think, at the lowest point. And then when I came back up, I just assumed, man, just turn it back on and go. And I did. And it took like a week or two to finally get the traction back. So I think the time of this recording, I think like my last 28 days, I'm looking at about 150 million views, which is awesome. And now I'm sure you'll probably, 156 million views for the last 28 days. And I'm back just under 15,000 in revenue for the last 28 days. So, I was averaging anywhere from like $800 a day. I think prior to that, I had some $2,000 days, which were awesome. And then like the first couple of days back, like I could barely crack 100. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, oh no. Like, okay, I'm grateful. Yeah. I'm grateful for whatever I do get. But now, just seeing, I don't know if you can see like that chart, but like just seeing.
Oh, it's going up.
Yeah. Like it's definitely like a nice trend, right? Like you can
see. Up.
Right?
Yeah. It's going up.
It's going up, so it's like, oh, okay, this is fun. Like, this is fun to see. So, just continuing with that trend and, just having fun with it as I'm going. So
how much of the process of the success of the going from $1,000 a month to the 3,000 to the 10 to the $30,000 a month, how much of it is analyzing what worked and trying to do more of that versus, and I'm not trying to say one is right or wrong. I know by saying this, I might be kind of self-deprecating the second question or the second side of it, but versus just throwing stuff up against the wall to see what sticks and just kind of going with that approach. How much data, refinement, progression, how much of that is involved in this success and your growth? Or is it more just tied to putting more irons in the fire and continuing to publish a lot of content?
Yeah, I definitely for me, it's like, I have to make it a point, at least like once a month, twice a month, to go back and look at the data to see like what's working, because it is tempting. One thing for me is like shiny object syndrome is like onto what is that next piece of content that exists out there that could be the next $1,000 post. I mean that there is some logic behind that, but then also looking back and just realizing, man, like a lot of the stuff that I post, like some of it is news or timely, but there's a lot of stuff, especially with investing, talking about investing for the long term, that is just, it's like Dave Ramsey. He says the same stuff over and over again. Why? Because people need to hear it again. and there's so much content I've posted that can be recycled and repurposed. So, and it's like, man, why spend all this time trying to find new shiny stuff when you got stuff that's already working? And I've had stuff I've posted 3 or 4 times, and it's made, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I've made more like the 3rd time I posted it, which just doesn't seem like logical, but once again, when you think about the short shelf life of the content, and that also only a fraction, if you publish it at 5 o'clock on a Tuesday, and next thing you know, you publish it, 9 o'clock on a Thursday, different people are going to see it, so you never know who's going to see it, and you never know what's going to work. And but I will say that there's some stuff that I have tried, and I can't think of any specific examples. It is kind of more of that humor that kind of had that success in the beginning. There's some of that stuff where if people don't understand my sense of humor, it falls flat at times. So I've learned, all right, just let that one go. I think it's funny, but chances are they probably won't. So I'll just let it go.
I've learned that the hard way at parties, unfortunately. So at least we only learn on Facebook. Let me ask the burning question. I have to ask it. I hope people have stuck around knowing I'll ask it. How do you get into a page into this program today? We've talked about this on the podcast in years past, but this has changed a lot, certainly throughout 2025. What does it look like today? What's the first 30 days? What's the process to get something monetized, a page monetized, so you can start to then do all the things we're talking about now?
Based on, you mentioned the guest that brought us together, seeing his content, and then because I think there was so much misconception about, I think this used to be how the Ads on Reel program was, where they said you need 10,000 followers.
Yep.
I know at least 2 or 3 people that have bought my course that have gotten into the Facebook content monetization program that have less than 10,000. So and I think they've been around 5 or 7,000. My wife, who is posting on Instagram, she got invited into, I don't know if they still do this, but they had what's called their breakthrough bonus program. And I think the incentive was hey, you're posting content on Instagram, we'll pay you $500 a month if you post 21 reels a month, but you got to post directly to Facebook. And I don't know if that was exactly, but it was something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So she did that for a few months, and then she got invited into the content monetization program with less than 200 followers. What, I can't confirm this, but what seems like it was what's going to get you in, obviously if you're posting original content, posting consistently, but if you're adding reels into the mix, I think that's just the fast track. I think they want reels. Obviously your unique reels, not downloading somebody else's and posting as yours, because if they were paying my wife to get in, and another account that they were primarily posting on Instagram, doing reels, and I think they had about 6,000 followers. They got invited into the program, made $1,000 in the first month, and all they do is reels. And that seems to be kind of the common thing that I see. And once again, when people hear reels, it is not you can have a pro Canva account, and get the video B-roll and just throw a hook on there, right? So it's not like you have to even show your face, but just demonstrating to Facebook, hey, I'm going to upload reels. And if you actually, I don't see these anymore, but if you have a newer page, they have their challenges that they'll have, where it's posting so many times a day. And in that, even I still get that weekly challenge of I think it's 15 reels a day, so they're still wanting me to post, kind of gamify. So to me, yes, you can post images. Yes, you can post text posts. Yes, you can do stories. In addition to that, I think you want to be posting at least 1 reel a day.
Love it. And I love that you really have drilled in on the simplicity that a reel can be. Because I'm just like the person you're commenting on. When I hear reel, I think of these elegant Instagram reels that are edited together and, have 65 scenes every 10 seconds and, sync to music and all that. And so it is nice to hear that a reel can exist on a much simpler level.
Yeah. I have if you actually go to my page now, I have 1 reel. It was a 6-second reel, me drinking a cup of coffee with 1 hook, and it has 570,000 views. So it was just me drinking a cup of coffee, didn't say a word. with whatever the music was trending at this moment, and used Edits, which is Instagram or Meta's like native edit app, and that's what I use. Upload to Facebook, and there you go.
Okay, so it's going back to the how to get monetized. In essence, it's somewhat follower based. There's an engagement component, I'm guessing, as well. I mean, you can't just drive a bunch of followers via paid ads.
Yeah.
What's the engagement level need to be like? And dovetailing into that, if you're posting whatever 20 times a day, I've seen a lot of people say that maybe only one, in your initial couple months, maybe only one post per day, one post per every other day will do well, and the rest will kind of be crickets. Is that normal?
Yeah.
So what type of engagement is needed, and what's normal in terms of engagement on a per post or per day type of basis?
Yeah, it's so hard because I think everybody has like a different strategy, and there's a guy I follow on Facebook that he was like, he posting threads and text posts and posting like 20 to 40 times a day. And when you look at the engagement, like it's not there. Like it really isn't. And then there's another creator that came across who, I mean, it's more of a daily lifestyle, where she's sharing all these things about her life, and she's got a very interesting life. And she gets so many comments, but also she's in there engaging with her community. And to me, like that's it, right? Like, so if you're trying just to post, like if you're using chat, you find, I think a common strategy I see people talk about, find a viral post, go to ChatGPT, give you 20 variations, blah, 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 and I've said that, and that is true to an extent, but like if you're trying to just post and dump and not engage, it's like, how can you expect to build anything if you're not present, if you're not there talking to your people? So when you think about whatever that topic is, making sure it's something that you want to talk about, that you want to engage and have conversation with, because to me, like that's what's going to show, So like, yeah, I get it. Like posting a lot per day can work. To me, I don't know. Like, I think it works with me talking about personal finance. Like, you can share anything about personal finance and add a bit of a caption, and it's going to be engaging for anybody because everybody has their own experience. So I think it's engaging in itself. But if you're just like posting viral memes thinking like, oh, I'm just going to post all these and it's going to take off, like it can. But man, if you're more deliberate and strategic about what you post and what do you want to talk about and engage with, I think you're going to have so much more success. Because like the page I mentioned earlier that they got approved, like it's talking about I think it's their page is Unfiltered Moms, right? So they're speaking to a very specific community of moms who like to have fun, in motherhood. So like there's a community with it, right? Like another guy I know, it's in real estate. Like there's a community around it. But if you're just kind of posting random stuff about that has no clear topic, like then people come to you like, who are you? Like, okay, you're posting funny stuff. Like I don't know anything about you. Why would I want to follow you, engage with you?
Mm-hmm. You mentioned a few times, I got to ask about what role does AI play in your day-to-day? How much of it are you embracing AI? I mean, you're doing this all by yourself, so you got to be leveraging AI to some degree. You have no help. It's amazing. But where do you see AI playing a role for people as they on a day-to-day basis with this?
Yeah, I mean, so for now, like AI for me is writing all the captions, so it's a caption and first comment. I don't have I used to have kind of a prompt, but now like I've just done it so much with Facebook, done it so much with ChatGPT, it kind of knows what to give me. So it always gives me like 5 different variations of the caption, and then also 5 variations of that first comment. And just so people know, when I say first comment, is that when I'm using Buffer or Post Planner, when you post something, if you created the content on your page, your first comment also shows in whenever they're scrolling. So, and if you use a long enough caption and first comment, the people have to click see more to see it, right? So it's just another form of engagement, little extra step. But to me, like it's so beneficial. If you actually scroll through my page, you'll see, not on every single post, but you'll see a lot of people not only like the post, they also like and engage with that first comment. And that's the engagement piece. So using ChatGPT with all of that, that is obviously is a huge part of it. Sometimes I'll use it for, I think the other day, like I had a post go viral, and I can't remember what it was talking about. Oh, it was talking about 2026, thinking ahead, like, hey, this post went viral. What are some other topics or niches that I could talk about going into 2026? It gave me 25 different things. not that I'm going to run with that and just post as is, but at least gave me some ideas to use with that. If they sometimes with a post, if there's a personal element that I want to include, I'm a huge voice to text guy. So I love with ChatGPT, I can just talk, so it'll give me the caption. I allow it to give me the caption first, and then I'll interject with, hey, here's actually my viewpoint on this, here's a personal story, and then, talk it out that way. So just kind of like my personal editor and storyteller. And I mean, that's a big bulk of how I use it right now.
Yeah, I imagine that'd be hugely helpful. And obviously we know AI can play a huge role in saving time for a lot of people, but this does seem to really lend itself well to AI, like an area that AI can really excel at. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, especially when you have a lot of conversations with ChatGPT, it gets to know you. I mean, it still kind of makes up stuff. It's like, it knows I drove a 1998 Chevy Lumen. It knows I was a financial planner for 16 plus years. It knows I have 4 kids. Like, it knows I was deployed to Iraq and when I was deployed. Like, it knows that about me. A little scary, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's a good way to put it. I mean, I think a lot of people listening right now, a bit going back to all the way back to the start of our conversation, they're trying to figure out where they're best utilized as a content creator. And that might still be blogging. That might still be in affiliate marketing. But for a lot of people, they're wondering if there's other paths to continue to be a content creator, but not necessarily do it the way they used to be doing it. So this is such a really interesting opportunity, whereas so many other platforms seem to be making it harder for people. Every time we talk about Facebook on this podcast in the last year or so, they seem to just be making it easier for creators.
Yeah, I mean, that has definitely been my experience. And the thing that I hope to talk about, maybe if you have me back on the show, and I think that's what you maybe talked about with Andy, our previous guest, was, having a blog that was my main revenue driver source. Like, I still have, like, I'm getting ready in the process. Somebody's helped me get this all set up where testing out driving traffic to the website to take advantage of, ad revenue that way, which was, used to be the main revenue driver. So it's like, oh, if there's another way to add, obviously make money with the content monetization, throw on the AdSense revenue, do have a course, and also with the YouTube revenue, talking about Facebook monetization now, which has been a lot of fun. So it's like, oh, there's like different ways to, drive revenue from this. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like you said, it by far has been one of the easiest ways, because, with YouTube, like even recording a short, I mean, it's like I recorded one before I hop on this interview. I use ChatGPT to script it out, so I got the script, which is awesome. I used the script, which has a lot of AI functionality to help edit the video, but still, like, it's going to take me probably an hour, actually probably 2, to publish a 60-second video that I recorded. And whereas in 2 hours, I can have 2 days worth of content scheduled on Facebook that's going to make me anywhere from like $500 to $1,000 each day. So it's like, okay. Yeah, like the math doesn't math, but it does when it hits the bank account.
Yeah, the math doesn't math. Yeah, boy, that's the interesting thing about it. I mean, video creation is it's really challenging, right, in terms of time and investment. And so, yeah, boy, the math doesn't math. Jeff, where can people follow along with what you're doing? I know you have a course on this. Where can people keep track? I mean, I've got your page booted up right now, Good Financial Sense, which you talked about at the beginning. I'm scrolling through it before we started recording and as we're recording, but where else can people engage with what you're doing?
Yeah, obviously they can go to the Facebook page, Good Financial Sense. Also on my YouTube channel, Wealth Hacker, I'm talking a lot about Facebook monetization, just what I'm learning, other pages I've created. The cool thing about the algorithm is that I've found a lot of people that have been willing to share, how much their pages are making or how much certain posts are making. So just like the algorithm, once you save and bookmark a few, all of a sudden I'm just getting fed. And I just love sharing it. I'm always interested to see, that, somebody made $800 because they showed a picture of their filthy car that hasn't been cleaned, or somebody made $200 from making peanut butter sandwiches, which still don't know why, they just did. So anyway, share a lot of that on the YouTube channel. And then the course, Get Paid to Post, is something I created because, I was doing it, the Facebook thing, had people reaching out to me, curious initially to know, like, man, how is your page growing so fast? Because I went from 25,000, I think, in summer of 04 to, to almost 400,000 right now. And once they saw I shared how I'm growing, and then they found out that I was making money, I had a lot of people in the personal finance space were like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So I had a lot of questions coming in. I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and put it in a course. So basically just trying to create a resource for people that want to know how to do it, how I'm doing it, trying to update it like fairly often. I think I just uploaded a new lesson like a month ago. But anytime I discover something new I think is relevant, trying to keep that updated. So anybody that's like looking to make money on Facebook, that's what the course Get Paid to Post is. So that's where you can find me.
We'll put it in the show notes, of course. Jeff, this has been awesome. The hour flew by. A bit of a part 2 to Andy's interview. We stayed a little bit more introductory in Andy's. That's not to say Andy didn't get into some detailed tactics, but I wanted to avoid the like specific how-to and just really get a lot of what's working in our conversation today. And I really appreciate you sharing all that. It's a great program right now. Boy, like you said, it's really inspiring. So Jeff, thanks so much. Until we talk again, I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Before you go, don't forget about the quick win from one of our listeners. Felice Kaufman grabbed a free GEO snapshot audit from Tool One Creative to check on her site's LLM visibility, and it unexpectedly uncovered a hidden technical issue that was holding her site back. She fixed it immediately, and within days, an older article hit the top of the search results. Her words, your GEO audit was a godsend. So if you want to see how your site shows up for AI, what might be quietly holding it back, you can still grab this for free at tool1creative.com/GEO snapshot. All right, we'll see you in the next episode.